I thought one of our sponsors would be here. Zera Shimshon. So the Nishmat for Rabbi Muratov's mother. I forgot the name. Inshallah, should have an aliyah. Okay, let us begin. So, the last pasuk of Vaetchanan. That's what you see here on the first paper I gave you. Pasuk with the word Hayom. V'shamartad ha-mitzvah, should guard the mitzvah, v'tachukim, the statutes, the mishpatim, and the laws. Asher anochi mitzavecha hayom, that I'm commanding you today, la'asatam, to do. All right? Rashi, it's printed right under it. Hayom la'asatam, you do them today, ul machar, but tomorrow, which refers to olam haba, litol secharam. You're going to take the reward from that. So, Rashi tells us a very interesting concept. He says, when it says, Asher anochi mitzavecha hayom, today, it's talking about this world. Ul machar, but tomorrow, referring to next world, olam haba, that's what you're going to take the schar. So where does Rashi pick up this concept? We're going to see this in the Gemara. Did it come out? I just reprinted it in the picture working. Go check that, please. Check the printer. If paper came out. So Rashi gets it from the Gemara. Over here it quotes Erechin. It's not the actual. It's in Erechin, but its actual original source comes up in Avodah Zarah. People that are doing the Daf Yomi. This is at the beginning of this Masechta. It came in a form of a proof to a question, and then it was repeated again on Daf Dalet. So you'll see different sources tell you Daf Gimel, Daf Dalet. It's reprinted and Erechin. Okay. Look at the next on your notes. I put in the Gemara. V'ha Amar Rav Yeshua ben Levi. Rav Yeshua ben Levi said, "My dichtiv. What's the meaning in this pasuk? And it's our pasuk. Asher anochim etzavecha hayom la'asotam. Hayom. What is this? I command you hayom today. Keep everyone else give me that. What does it mean today? La'asotam. Today. So hayom la'asotam. Today means this world. You do mitzvot in this place, now, here and the now. Okay. We're getting to it. Right? So the time and the place for the mitzvah is now. Hayom. Hayom la'asatam, the Gemara says. But the Gemara says further, Velo hayom litol sachar. And not today are you going to take their reward. Okay. Let's see note number 31 of the Gemara. It's a little too small, I apologize. I use a new app, Microsoft OneNote, and I didn't know how to size it up yet. So it says over here, there is no further possibility of performing any types of good deeds, mitzvot, in the world to come. That's what Rashi brings this on this in Masechet Avodah Zarah. A person has for himself in the next world only as much as he has prepared for himself in this world. Does this sound anything similar to Shabbat? The Gemara actually brings this. The Gemara says on Daf Daled, the Gemara is going to talk about it and say, Hechinu masher hechinu. You prepared, that's what you're going to have. Okay, so this kind of correlates to each other. The Zera Shimshon therefore says, we're going to take the concept, and we're going to explain that in a second in the notes, of what's called birur, selecting the good, the kedusha, the or, the nitzotzot, from the bad. He's going to connect it to Shabbat, malacha of borer, which is bad from the good. You cannot do. And he's going to make correlations and explain why specifically can't you do mitzvot in the world to come using the Shabbat. So we're going to see now how he brings it all. It's beautifully tied in together. We're now going to look just at the beginning part of the Derush Gimel that I gave out at the end. This is the Zera Shimshon, 13th drasha on the Parshat. The Gemara Avodah Zarah and Perek Kama says, Hayom la'asotam, v'lo lemachar la'asotam. You only could do it today, and you can't do this tomorrow, meaning in Olam Haba. Hata'am hu alzehu, the reason is ki ikar kiyum hamitzvot. The main part, you get this?
No.
Here. You got it?
Yeah, no. I'll listen.
I got it right here for them. The ikar of the of doing the mitzvot, is levarer, to select hatov mehara, to take the good from the bad. So, now that he quotes this concept, let's get into this concept. Let's understand what this is all about, get a little feel of it, and then we'll tie it into the Malach of Borer. So, I gave everyone in your packet of notes, page 260 and Kuf Lamed Aleph. This is from the Arizal. Chaim Vital wrote this, called Likutei Ketuvim. I also lined it so it's easier to reference to it. We're going to start, actually we're going to look at line 5. Line 5, for everyone who came from Sedash Rishit of last Shabbat, we talked about Sipora. So here's the actual source the Arizal puts in at line 5, and he goes, Gam Tzipor Matzah Bayit. This pasuk, you should know, Ki HaTe'uma Yetera, the extra twin that we talked about, Shel Hevel, Shaharago Kain B'Shvila, that he killed him for it, who sod Tzipora, Eshet Moshe, V'zeo Tzipor Matzah Bayit, and Yitrosh, who Gilgal Kain, give me a drink, V'Yitrosh, who Gilgal Kain, V'zeo Udror, Ki B'nei Yitro Kemot Tzipor Diror. So this is the source of that. I just wanted to point it out. But now getting to our thing. The next pasuk from this capital of Tehillim, Pei Daled. Ovrei be'emek habacha. Okay, you have it? Line 6, 7, 8. Line 8. Ovrei be'emek habacha. Sod hamita. Besod hamlachim. Shemetu. Now he explains that pasuk is talking about death, I'm talking about malachim. Utzrichen birur le'olam. We have to have this selection in the world. Ki af shen nivreru me'ikara lo hayu rak bechinat achor be'achor kol ma shenitbarer. I'm not going to get into that. That's not necessary for the concept. Ve'im lo chata adam harishon. If Adam HaRishon did not make a sin, hayahakol nitkan, everything would have been perfect. Ba'afilu hapranim, even the innards. Tanya explains as well. Maybe get at the end. V'lo hayitzrichin leolam hazeh hatachton klal. Wouldn't have to have anything down here to do. Shekol kavanat olam hazeh hu letzorech habirur. The entire olam hazeh is for this birur, this selecting good from bad. We're going to understand this in a second, even deeper. K'moshe Katuv, v'zeh haya chet Adam harishon she'achal me'etz hada'at tov v'ra. What did he do? Shehaya me'urav. He mixed up the good and bad. You're supposed to select the good from the bad. His sin was, he mixed it all up. He took from the etz hada'at tov v'ra. He mixed it, me'urav. V'im hu lo chat b'zivug harishon she'haya na'aseh b'leil Shabbat, then haya mitpared hatov mehara. It would have been separate, the good from the evil. Legamrei v'zeh hatov haya mitbarer lemala v'hara red lemata. Now, how do we understand this? So he's going to give us an example, and he's going to make such a beautiful example that makes so much sense to understand this concept of birur. The entire point of us, our mitzvot that we do, everything that we do, we're doing what's called birur. We're selecting the good from the bad. Let's go weiter. The kivan, this is line 14. The kivan shechata Adam harishon, and since he sinned, nisharu me'oravim, everything got mixed up. V'naflu minitosei kedusha beklipa, and because he sinned, all of these nitzotzot, all of these little sparks of kedusha fell into the klipa. Now, how does the Arizal explain it so we could understand? He starts, line 15. HaMitzvot, all of these actions of mitzvot, asher na'asu kol yemei chayav, and even the mitah, hakol hu letzorech habirurim halalu, it's for selecting good from bad. The achar sheyushlam kol habirur, and if we do and take all the good from the bad, yavo Mashiach. V'zeu inyan, and this is what it's referred to, hamatar, the rain, hayored milemala, v'gorim lo'otziat tzemachim, and it causes the sprouts to come out of the ground. He's going to explain. When the water comes down, what happens? The water, he says, is considered like an or elyon. It comes down. What does it do? It causes all these sprouts to come out from the ground. This is the little sparks of Kedusha that were stuck here because of Adam Harishon's sin, and our job is to pull them all out. Now we know that Or is Torah, Oraita. So we're gonna Baal Shem Tov at the end of this Derush is going to put it all together for us. But to understand it, you gotta picture your backyards here in Pomona. You have your beautiful area. Some spots still didn't grow in the grass. You're waiting for that rain. Why use sprinklers? The rain finally comes in, or the dew, the tal that comes down on everything. This is also considered Or Elyon. And what does it do? It gives it enough power to start to make things sprout. This is the mission of a human, and his entire life is to cause that. By doing Torah, by doing Kedusha, you're going to cause things that weren't yet sprouted to come forth. In fact, the way the world was created with letters, these letters are still standing there. All what we're doing is selecting and putting together letters to create worlds. We say this all the time in Tefillot. Le'olam amunai devarecha nitzav b'shamayim. We say it when we do Mekabolat Ol Malchut Shamayim. We say that in Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. What is this? Le'olam, forever. Amunai Hashem, devarecha. Your words, your letters that you're going to send out. Nitzav b'shamayim, the standing in the sky. Each thing that we see in this cosmos, everything that's in the world, all represent by Aleph Beis. There was once a video that they made. Leonard Nimoy was the actual voice character of what they called the Miracle of Lights, the lights. It's an old cartoon for Hanukkah. And it had little olive bases on every one of the Jewish people. And the toga wearers, the Greek guys, they had these Greek letters. And they came to switch out the letters. People don't understand how deep that thing, whoever wrote that, obviously studied. The letters represent your neshama. It's your neshama. It's alive. The moment you switch it out with garbage, the thing falls to the ground. There's nothing there. It doesn't have anything. Le'olam Hashem devarcha nitzav hashamayim. Your letters are put together, and so now we're going to see how birur works. By the way, birur also comes from the word like berura, to explain. Halacha brura, Mishnah brura, and in fact the Baal Shem Tov writes clearly and openly, and it's in the Tanya, it's brought down in two places. It says specifically that when a person starts to unravel and learn halachot, that's also the nitzotzot, the sparks that were hidden and covered in kalipa. And as you more and more choose the oraita, and you go and you start to learn, you're unraveling, you're bringing out the nitzotzot, it's sprouting. There's another way to think about it. But we're going to go now into this. Let's go a little weiter. So we're up to line... Right, so we're up to we're going to start from line 16. וזהו עניין המטר הירד מלמעלה, וגורם להוציא הצמחים, all the sprouts. מי נתן הצמחים שיוציאן מן העפר הזה? Who gave these little sprouts to come out from the dirt? אלא הם ניצוצי קדושה, it's the sparks of kedusha, המעורבת that got mixed up, תוך כליפה, and now ויוצאים לחוץ, they come out. Vehine inyan habirur. What is this whole concept of birur? Hu ki yored or elyon ma'kedusha shelemala b'matar, through the rain. By the way, what happens when we don't listen to Hashem? What is always the thing that Hashem is stopping if we don't listen? Lo yiten, the matar, the water is going to stop. It's always mini'at. That's what he's going to write here. Right? Okay, we said that. Line 19. ואז הניצוצות של קדושה אשר בעמקי קליפות עולים לקראת אור היורד ומדבקים ועולים ומדברים. והנה המטר הוא אור העליון היורד מלמעלה. That's line 20, שהם 21. מם ד' וכנגדם עולים אלו הממנון. We're not going to get into this. It's not important for our concept right now. שהם ניצוצות הנזכיר לאל. וזה אין לך טיפה היורדת מלמעלה שאין כמה טיפים עולים מלמטה. משום שניצוצין אלו שהם מן הקדושה, והם אסורים, they're locked up, ככלי ברזל, that's where you have the iron curtain from. בעמקי הקליפות, all these kedusha stuck there, והם מתאבים, they want, וחושקים, and they have a will, לעלות אל מקורם, to come back to the מקור. Remember these words, because the Tanya, and Baal Shem is going to use these similar words, he's going to use some of these words. And what does it say further? Here, look at number 25. Everything that's good that comes to happen is birur. Therefore, the biggest punishment always mentioned is that we're going to stop the matar. And reward as well. And therefore it's imaginable, you could already say, so when there's a nice rain outside, that's the feeling of kibbutz galiyot. How everything is coming in and causing more things to grow. That's how the feeling will be. What a warm feeling to feel this way. Imagine you're a little sprout waiting to come out. What do you need? You need water, you need sunlight. The water is the ore, and that's what gives us the power to come out. This is birur. This is what you accomplish when you do physical mitzvot, and as we're going to see in the second shot of the Zera Shimshon, by learning Torah. Because the Zera Shimshon says, hold on, you want to say selection, that's like borer. Could you do borer on Shabbat? No. Can I do mitzvot of Olam Hazeh in Olam Haba? No, because borer is birur, and it cannot be done after this world. That's his first shot. That's the connection. Got that? We can go further in here, but I'm not going to get into it right now. I want to complete the Zera Shimshon first. Now, okay, let's look in the Zera Shimshon. That's where it says Gimel. Let's go a little weiter in the Zera Shimshon. And then he says like this is where we stopped. Hatam al zehu ki ikar kiyu mitzvot hu levarer hatov mehara. That's the concept that we just explained from the Arizal, that we're doing birur. The Olam Haba nikret Shabbat. He brings that down from the Gemara in our Gemara in Avodah Zarah Daf Gimel says it's Shabbat. That's Olam Haba is like Shabbat. V'habor b'Shabbat chayav chatat, and therefore you can't do these mitzvot after Shabbat, after the when you go into the world to come. All the mitzvot have to happen down here. There are some mitzvah hacks. You could, for example, tzedakah could affect the neshama after the neshama left. Tzedakah could affect it. If you train someone on this earth, you train someone. You trained someone. You taught him how to put on tefillin, shake a lulav, keep Shabbat. Whatever they do is going to be schar even after your Olam Haba. But generally, that's it. There's no more mitzvot. We're going to hold that way. So let's go weiter in the Zera Shimshon. Omnam, however, ha'olam hazeh shem yimei chol mitzvah livror kol ma shetzarech leyom haShabbat. Just like you have to prepare for Shabbat, or what are you going to eat on Shabbat, so too you're supposed to do these selection, these mitzvot. And we're going to look at the Baal Shem, we're going to see that it's not just mitzvot, it's learning halacha, gemara, and v'chulei. We're going to see that in a second. Now, he goes into the next part. V'chi heichi. And where? The ikar derech habiru b'kli. Let's explain that. So, in the Lamatet Malachos, what is it? It's from the Mishkan. What they did then, we apply it to now. So for us, when we're eating, we can't take away the bad from good. Okay. How did it work in the concept of the Beit HaMikdash? So Borer would be probably in the areas where you're going to create a useful, let's say you want to have a useful seed to chew on. So you got to get rid of the covering. So you would use a tool. How do you do borer with flour? You use a tool, a sieve, a funnel, a winnowing. You throw it up and that's borer that's done with a kli. Rashi on Daf Ayin Zayin Masechet Shabbat, when it brings up the concept of borer, he writes that the ikar borer, the main part of borer is with a kli. So Zera Shimshon asks now, okay, you want to know this compares to borer, yeah? Borer is with a kli. How are you going to do birur with a kli? What's your tool, so to speak, that Hashem gives us that we can go out there and do birur? Okay, if those are like Minecraft, what pickaxe did you get? What are you doing? What are you using to go do the mitzvah? How are you going to do this? Oh, does he have a Torah? So he says, right? Let's see the question. V'hechi the ikar derech habirur hu bichli, kach ikar haberur of good from bad, the mitzvot, like we said from the Arizal, naaseh al yedei Torah. The Torah is your tool. Shehayta kli umanuto shel Hakadosh Baruch Hu. It was the kli that was used in Shemaim when he created the world. Histakel be'oraita. He looked in the world and barat olam. Imagine doing construction without a blueprint. I tried here. How many times we had Kevin switch it up? Or Edwin. I think Edwin. You know what? The wall's not straight. I told you do it that way. Okay, si, senor. Knocks out the whole thing, starts it again. You have to have a plan. You have to have everything is on a pincus, has to be all written out. How many inches from here, how many from there? If this is an angled wall, it's got to be here, it starts here and ends there. And they take that little string and give it a flick, and it makes a line out of the cement, and they know exactly where to punch. Kadosh Baruch Hu had a blueprint. Histakel b'oraita, and if you want to know what this blueprint is and how it tantamounts to today's construction, look in the stone edition of Art Scroll on the Chumash. Look at the introduction to the Chumash. Yeah, I found the introduction to the Bible. It's in the stone edition. And he says how many miles of wiring would have to go just to create the world that Hashem created. Imagine what kind of blueprints. This is unbelievable. So if he used that to create the world, then that's the tool that we have in our hands, at our disposal, to do birur, to select the good from bad. That's the entire mission, thanks to Adam HaRishon, to bring Mashiach Tzidkenu. In Vaetchanan, at the last pasuk, the Torah wrote the word Hayom. This that we just learned is all under that one word. If you double-clicked it in a computer, this is what you would get. Hayom is telling you, on this earth, you do all the mitzvot that we said. And you're going to get your schar in the Olam Haba. And remember, you're comparing it to Shabbat. Just like on Shabbat, you prepare before and then you come to get. And on Shabbat, you cannot do borer. Birur ends on this world. That's your ticket out to the world to come. And Mashiach won't come until we complete the birur. Now it makes sense with what he said the other weeks about going through the different lands, why the Beit HaMikdash had to be destroyed for us to visit other countries, why Abraham was looking for us, in the Midrash writes, because we were going to make tikkunim and bring other neshamot back. And I want to end off with taking a look at the rest of the notes that we gave you. And that talks about, so the first one is Hamaskil Yavin. So that's from the Tanya, Igeres HaKodesh, Chav Vav. Amud Bet, Chav is Ot Chav Hei. Hamaskil Yavin, Inyan Pele Gadol Mizeh Me'od. Ma Na'asa B'Shamayim Mima'al. What happens in Shemayim? Al Yedei Iyun, learning the Iyun, Uverur Halacha Pesuka, and learning halachot and piskei halachot from the Gemara. So after the Gemara, you should find out what the halacha comes out of it. Uposkim rishonim va'acharonim. Mashaya behelim davar kodem ha'iyun halaz that we mentioned. Ki al yedei zeh ma'aleh halacha zo mehakelipot shayu ma'alimim mechasim otam. The klipot were covering it. You didn't have access to it. And once you start to learn and you uncover, you're taking the good from the bad. This is Iker of Birur, by the way. Oh, Shalo Haita Muvenet Hetev Ta'ama. Maybe you didn't understand well a reason of something in the Torah. Shatam Usod HaSefirah Chachma Ila'ah Shenaflu Mimena, because things fell from it. Nitzotzim Beklipot B'Shvirat HaKelim Vehem Sham B'Mechinat Galut. And the Kelipot are controlling Alehem. And they're holding back this Torah. And that's what we mean over here, that with this keli, with the Torah, you could uncover the nitzotzot, and you could create understandable Torah from it. So that's the first thing. That means birur is also through learning Torah. The second thing we took from the Tanya is Hinei Ketiv. That's what I said earlier. Olam Hashem devarcha nitzav b'shamayim. Uperish Baal Shem Tov Zichrono Livracha Ki Devarecha She'amarta, that you said Yehi Rakiv Tochamayim Tevot ve'otiyot Elu, words and letters, Hem Nitzavot ve'omedot le'olam, they stand up there b'toch Rakiv Hashamayim in the heavens, Umlu Bashot b'toch Kol HaRaki'im, and that's the whole world that we see today is all wearing, it's all like a clothing on top of those letters. I hate to use movies as an example, but Matrix is the perfect example. If you could see past what the world looks like, you see all the coding, all those Japanese letters jumping up and down on the screen. It's exactly what he's saying here. Every single letter in the Torah is all put up there, holding up the whole place, everything. If these letters go back to where they came from, it will turn into desolate, zero. Everything will go away. Like it was never there. As if it was before the Maaseh Bereshit, what that was. And therefore he says, everything was created, even anything gashmi is everything. If one letter went away, everything from the 6 days of creation, and now he quotes the Ari. וזהו שאמר הארי זכרונו לברכה, שגם בדומם ממש, כמו אבנים, let's say stones, ועפר and dirt, ומים, יש בחינת נפש וחיות רוחניות, there's things in there. That's what we meant by those things that are going to sprout. דהיינו בחינת התלבשות אותיות, the letters, הדיבור מעשרה מאמרות המחיות, מהוות את הדומם, להיות יש מאין ואפס. שלפני שיש באמצע ראשית. So now we understand the world was created only with the Torah. And the Torah is holding this whole thing up. Every letter. Reb Chaim Kanievsky, you went to Reb Chaim, told him your foot hurts. He tells you what to correct. How does he know? Because each part of your body represents for the mitzvot. Because this is the actual meaning of it. It's what Rizal's telling you. Every letter, every ot, every word has in it its place that it holds everything up. And if we're to chas v'shalom destroy, we're going to be in big trouble. You don't take the Torah, I'm going to destroy the whole world. Now it makes sense. The whole thing was built with Torah. We don't accept it, it's gone. Tomorrow, it's finished. The only way is with Torah. That's the second shot in the Zera Shimshon. The Zera Shimshon is saying, oh, but I thought you're using borer. Borer really comes with a device. You have to use a kli. Yeah, the kli is the Torah. Really? Yes. The Torah was the world was created with Torah, and that's the same kli you could use to be Mekayem and keep the world from destroying and keep it going. Only through those words of the Olam Hashem Tevarcha Nitzav B'Shamayim. So thank everyone for coming, and we hope that we're able to do the actual Hayom. It's today. All the mitzvot and everything involved. It's all today. That means over here on this world. And Rabbi Gavriel Miller said in Cheshbon Nefesh 5, Ot Ayin Gimel through Ayin Chet. Yeah, it was on that tape, on tape number 5. And we learned this in the car. Tesla has the Spotify. Spotify has all of Rabbi Gavriel Miller's podcasts. So it's very simple to click right in. So we were listening. I'm listening to it, and he goes through it, and he says to chill, to waste time. You're a murderer. What are you doing? This is not what time was given for. And he tells us the biggest inyan was to put everything into tzedek. You're going to talk to someone, does it follow under the category of tzedek? Is it righteous? Is it the right way to talk? Is it the right way of the outcome? Before anything else, just stop and think if it passes tzedek. It's one of the checklists. It's tzedek. And he goes through it, but he brought down that time wasting is killing and murdering. Now we see that. If you do Bitul Torah, what are you doing? You're taking the actual life, you're destroying it. Hey, let's go chill. Now has a new meaning. You don't murder me. I'll chill. Maybe in the morgue till they bury me. We don't need that now. No, don't chill now. Chilling is no good. All right, Batai, thank you. See you tomorrow, 7 o'clock for Shacharit.